Hello, hello, and welcome everyone to Overtime. It has been a remarkable. It's been a remarkable year, but then the last couple of weeks certainly a lot's been going on. I think we're going to have to add a new piece of flair to the. I think on the main in-time interface we add a new little piece of flair for every remarkable thing we go through. I think we're going to have to add a new one for this. Um, so with me today is Vox. Vox, how are you?
I'm doing well. I was like a little slightly embarrassed. I was watching TikTok videos while the Shield came up. So, it's infiltrated everybody's lives. It's like
Uh,
I'm not immune to it. It's amazing, right? The people. I know this has got nothing to do with anything, right? But these people are very talented people. I'm just very appreciative of all the makeup and the theatrics and the dancing and of course the beautiful people. It's just I love it.
I some of those TikToks are really quite good. I've enjoyed those. I don't see them unless a friend sends them to me, but usually my friends know what I like, and so they'll send me something. I was like, oh, that was good. So
This
I got
is
one on.
like I was watching a one that's like themed to the Betty Boop song, and it was Vaudois, and it was fantastic. So
Nice.
anyway,
You'll have to send it to
I'm doing
me.
good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I agree. It's been we're 21 days into the new year, and it's been 2020 like 2020 needs to come tell 2021 that 2021 doesn't have to behave like 2020 because we're not
Oh,
off to a good start.
no, no, and I don't know what it's going to take to turn it around. So, in fact, actually, though, that does. I did want to cover. So let me. There's one other thing I want to do
Well,
because
I
I'd
don't know
like.
if you know this, but we've got a new president. I don't know if you knew that. So
I, it turns out that's one I'm a little oblivious to a great many fucking things. That's not one of them. I did notice. I did actually notice that. So,
yeah,
um, I definitely want to get your take on the what is it? Your take on the inauguration, also the speech, which we heard. We played that for you guys yesterday, I think. So let me do like a brief rundown. I was going to save a few items for you because I thought you would want to bring up because you would well there was two that I wanted you to bring up. So let me do just a couple of quick ones. We've been covering the news pretty significantly, so I think that I don't have much to say here that we haven't said before, aside from the fact that there's a new president. But he has he we covered I think the all of the 17 executive orders that he did in his first hours in office. Just 17 executive orders, putting us back in the World Health Organization, putting us back in the Paris Accords. You heard what Senator Tom. I was going to say Tom Cruise, Ted Cruz
Ted
said.
Cruz.
Yeah, what he said about us going back into the Paris Accords.
Yeah, he basically, said, and of course I'm paraphrasing here, that we are kowtowing to the citizens of Paris as opposed to the citizens of America, leading me to believe that Ted Cruz has not been paying attention in these committee meetings, because if he had been paying attention, he would know that the reason that this is called the Paris Climate Accord is because the accord was held in Paris. Had it been held in New York, it would have been the New York Climate Agreements. And of course, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, of course, rightly asked if Ted Cruz thinks that the Geneva Convention is kowtowing to the citizens of Geneva.
Yeah, I was like, why do we
Um,
follow the Geneva Conventions? We're not from Geneva. Oh my God. This is a U.S. This is a friggin' U.S. senator who is supposed to. Oh dear Lord. All right.
well, funny enough, that's not the strangest thing ever said by a senator, I think, in my memory. The strangest thing I think ever said by a representative of the United States federal government that I can remember was during the Clinton administration. We were building, we were having a troop build up on Guam. Guam?
Guam.
Guam?
Guam.
It's Guam. Guam. And there was a congressman from the black delegation that was extremely worried about the troop buildup in Guam, not because he felt it was going to be a threatening act.
All right. I appear to have lost. Oh, sorry. I didn't catch any of that. I have lost audio. So give me 1 second, and I can't hear you. I'm presuming you can hear me. So give me 1 second, and I will try to fix that. I was getting up a screen I needed, and then my audio cut out. Let me see if I can get this back here. If I can't, I might have an issue. All right. I assume. All right. Could you just give me a mic check box and just say something, and we'll see if. I assume probably the live chat can hear you, but nope. Yeah, and maybe you cut out for the live chat as well. So let me. Paris Accords was about Hondas. Okay, we lost Vox's audio, so it's not me. Actually, I thought, hey, this is sweet. This is one of the first times we've ever blamed somebody else for a problem on In Time, and it actually was their fault. Wow. Okay, so we have lost Vox's audio. Let me just, I'm going to quickly check and make sure there still is a possibility. There's still a possibility it's on my end, so we'll still blame Vox, but let's just, no, everything here says we're getting the audio fine. I will check. Where is there? This says we're not receiving any audio from you, Vox. I don't know why. Maybe try reconnecting is the only thing I can think of, but the audio is down to 0. Not getting anything.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. All right.
That's very weird.
All right. So the weirdest thing ever said by a member of the U.S. government. It seems like you were is where you were going with that.
That one I cut off. So there's a representative of the black. I believe there's a representative of the black delegation, black caucus.
Oh yeah, Guam. Guam. That's right.
Buildup of troops on Guam, and his worry was not that the buildup of troops on Guam was going to like set off any kind of like international calamity of military organizations. He was worried that placing that many tanks on one end of the island would tip over the island of Guam.
Good Lord.
This is a United States congressman who thinks that placing tanks on one end of an island will flip the island upside down. So Ted Cruz is in good company, right? He's in good company with a bunch of other people who have said really inane things. The difference is that the black, the congressman that was a member of the black delegation, caucus, whatever we want to call it, was not a person who attempted to incite insurrection in our country and commit a coup d'état. So.
Well, and just because other people have been almost as stupid as him, just because other people have been almost as stupid as him doesn't mean that he's in good company. But we have a $3.99 super chat from Cheese Wizard. Thank you very much for that super chat. Cheese Wizard has been really great about supporting the show, so thank you very much. And then just because I have to, oh God, Dimitri Jesus, Aznarov.
I
Oznurov. Oh God, I can't. It's been too
I
long since
can't.
I've really had to try to read that. I'm sorry. I tried to. Oh, I got it right. Oh my God, dear Lord. Okay, I can still read. Um, all right. So let me do. Oh yeah. So there. Thankfully, the Democratic Caucus, two members of the Democratic Caucus, have now filed ethics complaints against both Cruz and Hawley for their inciting the violence in the Capitol Hill riot by lying to their constituency on the floor of the, and they did many other things, but I think that's the central thrust of it. So um, we'll see what happens. There's also been a, let's see, the Representative Carolyn Maloney has also asked the Committee on Oversight to investigate has asked the FBI to investigate. She's the chairwoman of the Committee on Oversight, asked the FBI to investigate Parler's role in the Capitol violence, the insurrection on the Capitol. They are a networking site that has been used ostensibly mostly by the right wing, and they were mostly taken out of commission when Amazon decided to cancel their contract with them and no longer host those services. They sued Amazon, and a few hours ago, a judge denied the emergency suit to have Amazon servers restore Parler. So they can still sue, and they're still going to presumably go through the courts, but they're not going to get an answer really quickly. Congress has also reintroduced a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. The Secretary of Education paused all student loan payments and set the interest rates to all student loans, federal government student loans, to 0. The COVID deaths today are up to about 4,500 in every state, in every territory, and in the District of Columbia. We are in a state of emergency. We have more than double the number of infected people we did in the spring and the summer during the peak times there. The incoming Biden team says that the management of COVID was worse than
No,
they had.
hold on 1 second there, Nick.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second there. No. I need you to stop spreading lies now. Okay, so Joe Biden's won. Okay, Joe Biden has won. The pandemic is over. Okay,
Oh.
we can stop pretending as if there was this pandemic, right? All these like the people that are pretending to be dead, right? They don't have.
Keep going.
I mean,
going.
look,
There's going to
I'm
be a
no
knock on
longer
your door
wearing
in
my.
about 5 minutes.
I'm no longer. Yeah.
There's going to be a knock on
I'm
your
no
door.
longer wearing my mask, right? I mean, that's what the Republicans said, right? They said that if Joe Biden won, that the pandemic would magically disappear.
Oh, that's right.
And
the
they wouldn't
conspiracy.
lie to us, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
It was the plan. I mean, it's just these people wouldn't lie, right? Reason to lie to us, right? So we're free now to go about without wearing a mask, right? We can stop pretending like our relatives and loved ones and friends and family died horrible deaths alone in hospitals with an inability to see friends and family due to something that has caused more deaths than, you know, the entirety of every single war that America found itself in from, the end of the Civil War to now.
Yep.
It's all fake.
I know. Big shock. Well, it turns out, they may not have been as honest as you would have thought in saying that. I know.
Damn. I was taken in. I was taken in by unsavory characters. They bamboozled me, Nick.
Yep.
They bamboozled me. I don't know what to think about this.
Well, they're Republicans. Get used to it. I'm
I'm
trying.
sorry,
I'm
I'm in a
trying not
weird
to be.
mood. I am in a
I am.
really
Yeah.
weird mood today.
Oh, yeah, I'm a bit too. So I'm. Yeah. Um. Well. I think it's. I think. Uh, for me, I think there's this bitterness. Also, it's great to have Biden in, but you take a look at it and you start to understand the scope of the rabbit hole that we've been in. Here's okay. You had said this. You were going back over a lot of the things that Trump had done, and you had forgotten just how much shit he did. And I'm sitting there going, it's like every now and then somebody brings up something. I was just like, oh yeah, but I only have about a 6 week span that I really remember of what he's done because there's just so much shit. And it's the boiling frog problem. You know, you put a frog in a cold. You try to throw a frog into a hot kettle of water, and it's going to jump out. But if you put him into a cold one and then slowly raise the temperature and just keep it slow, the frog's never going to realize, and you can boil the frog and the frog will die, and it won't realize really that the temperature's changed. And okay, we have now come out of that hot water, and it's like all of a sudden I'm starting to cool off, and I was just like, that was more fucked up than I thought it was. And I really thought it was fucked up. And I'm looking at having sanity, and Melania Trump. People have been sitting for a long time saying, isn't Melania Trump really smart? And let's give her credit for being so smart. I don't know how fucking smart she is or isn't. I really don't. And I hope she's all these things that people say. But first of all, she just got off of a government plane landing at Mar-a-Lago. They were landing in Florida. There is a mandate now that they are required to wear masks on all federal property, and she's not wearing a mask. Neither is Trump, and their security is wearing masks. The driver is wearing a mask. They're not, because they're still above it. They're still so. And I'm sitting there going, I don't. Apparently, she speaks a lot of languages, and that makes her really smart. I've met stupid people who can learn a lot of languages, especially if you come from Europe. They learn languages over there. Even the quote dumb ones learn lots of languages. I don't. She may be smart, she may not be, but the notion that based on what I know of her, I was impressed at all, or that anybody's impressed, how low has the bar come? So I'm now out, I'm looking at this pot of boiling water saying, damn, we were all in there. We even as fucked up as we knew it was. So I'm bitter, and I'm lashing out.
It's this year has been something that we would generally read about in a history book. Like when we go to school, then we read about the Dust Bowl, or the Spanish flu, or the Great Depression, the Civil War, the Salem witch trials, right? This is things that happened to people back before there was electricity, back when we got around on a horse and buggy, and things. Then we look back and we say, wow, and we think to ourselves, oh, thank God, we'll never have to go through anything like that. And yet here we are.
Yeah.
And, it makes it even more difficult with the realization that so little was done to protect us by the institution that sole purpose is to protect us. The state's job is to protect the common welfare of the citizens of this country. And, when polio was ravaging the country, when smallpox was ravaging the country, when the Spanish flu was ravaging the country, our state did the best it could do, given the limited capacities it had at the time. Here, we have, a technologically advanced society. We now know, based on comments from Joe Biden, that the Trump administration basically did nothing to protect us. And it is only because of the work of, career bureaucrats, the entrenched Democrats, and private companies that we have anything to defend ourselves with against this disease. And yet we still have people who are peddling these myths, and it makes it's almost like you can't mourn, right? We got 400,000 people have died from this. 4,000 people are dying a day, and we can't even stop to mourn, right? Because tomorrow's going to be another 4,000, and tomorrow's going to be another 4, and it's going to be days and days and days of 4,000s and maybe even 5,000s before the Biden administration can really get around to really making an impact. So I got a call today from my the other day, right? I was telling you this. I got a call. I was having a conversation with my surgeon, and I was supposed to be going in and doing some more of my facial feminization surgery to make me actually, a decent looking person and not the troll that I am. I'm kidding. I was just searching for a compliment there. And of course she's a healthcare worker, right? And so she got the vaccine, and then her husband got COVID, and then her husband gave her son COVID, right? And it's just like everybody's been affected. I have not gotten COVID. My wife hasn't gotten COVID. My son has not gotten COVID, but therefore the grace of God go I, because my wife's cousins have had it. My daughter's roommate had it. My daughter's roommate, and this just goes to show you how little people care, right? Just everyday average, like people that you wouldn't even consider to be idiots, right? My daughter's roommate got COVID, was diagnosed with COVID, waited 24 hours to tell my daughter, right? They're roommates, very small apartment.
God.
Waited 24 hours to tell her, told her, he walked up to her door, knocked on her door, no mask, by the way, said, "Do you want to help me bring in the groceries?" She said yes. While they were bringing in the groceries, he goes, "Oh, by the way, I tested positive for COVID." And, my reaction, I was ready to go after this kid with a baseball bat. This basically, you just put a gun to my daughter's head, and, these people just not a fucking care in the world. Not a fucking care in the world.
Yeah, well,
we need this unity that Joe Biden is bringing us. We really do.
Well, and so it looks like what we're seeing now is, first of all, presumably we had enough for first and second doses of the major vaccine. And I'm going to actually do a very brief rundown on what the vaccines are, so everyone's got an idea of what we have now and what's in the pipeline. And at some other point, we'll do a rundown of the mutations of the virus. But right now, it was the Pfizer vaccine that they were supposed to have enough. Pfizer vaccine, 2 doses, 21 days apart. They were supposed to have enough for, I forget actually the number, I want to say 500,000, but it had to have been more than that. And what we're learning now is that A, they didn't have as many as they said, and B, they only had the first dose of all of those. Now, it loses efficacy, but you can actually just do a single dose. It's not reliable at just a single dose, but it's better than nothing. But the thinking had been at one point, okay, if we just gave people the first dose, and Biden is now switching to that policy, which is take the first dose now before we know where we're going to get the second one from, so that we can just start vaccinating people, and that's a change in policy. But, he had thought we would have much more vaccine if, even on that policy, you released the second doses for people to take right now, in the hopes that they manufacture enough that they can take the second dose reasonably close to on time, maybe a little late. But now those second doses don't exist. So even with that change in policy, you're not going to actually have any positive impact on the number of people who are getting dosed. And now you still need to come up with the second doses for all those, the first wave. The other problem is it turns out that Pfizer has been sitting on a whole bunch more than people were aware of, which is a good thing, I suppose. But it had been ordered by the government, and the government never paid or never inquired about it, never came to pick it up. Nothing, just dropped it. And it says this stuff only lasts about 30 days after you've manufactured it. Whether or not any of this is usable now, but Pfizer's made it to as much as we asked for, and the Trump administration lied to the American public about how many they actually had, and then also lied. Pfizer said that they felt that they had been misled about the needs of the government and what it was willing to purchase, because we just dropped the ball on actually getting any of it. Which makes sense when you realize too that he had been briefed on this idea that herd immunity is the best way to do it. So it's actually better and saves lives if everybody gets sick as quick as possible. And that may have been, in fact, Trump's holy smoke. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, they are just, they're all just dumb, right? I mean, like, look, let's just do commentary for a minute, right? These people are, we did not have the best and the brightest running this country for 4 years, right? We just didn't. Yep. And America's paying the price for it. Fortunately, there is an adult in the Oval Office now. There's a song, right? A song of the South, a country song, band named Alabama, right? And there's a line, there's Mr. Roosevelt's going to save us all. Well, just as in the Depression, right, we needed a strong governmental response. We need a strong governmental response right now. And maybe a couple generations we can sing about Mr. Joseph R. Biden that saved us all, right? With his, executive orders and his 51 vote majority in the Senate.
Well, so let me okay, so let me end. They're talking about this. So what I want to actually do real quick, because they're talking about this. I don't know. Let's see which one is he's Dimitri. Dimitri is talking about the vaccine. Okay, so here are the vaccines. Here are all of the vaccines that we know of that are credible for operating as a vaccine. The first one is the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. That's the one that most of us know about. It was the first one made. It is Pfizer in conjunction with BioNTech, which is a German company. Now, we're also going to cover the three kinds of vaccines really quickly. mRNA, viral vector vaccines, and vaccines that use an inactivated virus. So the first two we're going to talk about are the mRNA. And what happens is they have an RNA template that mimics the spike protein of the virus. Your body learns that spike protein and is presumably able to defend against it. The Pfizer vaccine is 95% or more effective. It requires 2 doses, about 21 days apart. But here's the problem. It has to be stored at negative 70 degrees Celsius, and it's actually, I had said 30 days, I got them confused. It's 5 days. So once it's made, it's good for 5 days. You have to distribute it in freezer trucks that are down to negative 70 degrees Celsius. That requires liquid, liquid hydrogen. No. I want to say it's LOX, liquid O2. No, but it requires wow, my brain's not even the coolant. At any rate, it requires extreme cooling to maintain that temperature, and they have to make it as quickly as possible and distribute it within 5 days. The next one is the Moderna. Wow, I'm sorry, my brain is fried now. The Moderna vaccine, it also uses the a spike protein technology. It is considered to be as effective, 95% effective. It is also 2 doses, 28 days apart. However, 2 big benefits to it. One, it can last for 30 days with regular refrigeration, and if you knock it down to negative 20 Celsius, you can actually hold it for 6 months. So that's I think the one that we're starting to become more dependent on. AstraZeneca is coming up with one that has now been it's completed the phase 3 trials. It has been authorized for use in the UK, Argentina, India, and Mexico, and is anticipated to be used here. Its efficacy is only around 65%, so it works reasonably well, but not great. It is a viral vector one, which means that they create they just take a harmless virus, one that doesn't even affect human beings, and they engineer it so that it contains the same spike protein that you would find in SARS-CoV. They give you that virus reproduces in your body, but is harmless. But your immune system still learns to identify that spike protein, and presumably you become vaccinated. Again, the vaccination rate is between 60. Right now, the efficacy is between 60 and 65%. Sinopharm is a Chinese version. It is reportedly 80% effective. The UAE said it was actually closer to 90% in their unpublished data. The 80%, I think we don't necessarily trust because that's coming out of China. We've had some difficulty getting accurate data out of China. But this uses an inactivated virus. So it takes the SARS-CoV virus and renders it inert. They essentially kill it with a chemical process, but that process still preserves the structure of the virus. So they're giving you a dead version of the virus, but the structure is still there. So the virus is in your body. Your body learns to detect it and learns to combat it. And then if you get exposed to the live version, presumably you are okay and you are vaccinated. Because this one actually uses the actual virus, there is a lot of miscommunication that this is a dangerous vaccine, or that as in some vaccinations, they will give you like a weakened version of the virus. It is live, but it's weakened, and it presumably can't hurt you. There are people who have worried about the Sinopharm as because it's the actual virus. Hey, it can hurt you. It's been rendered inert. It is dead. It can't do anything. But that may be the one that Dimitri was talking about. Two more. Johnson & Johnson has a viral vector one. Now, the viral vector is what I talked about earlier. They just take a virus that's a harmless virus. It's alive, but it's harmless. It doesn't hurt human beings. And they engineer it to contain the gene for the spike protein. This has completed phase 2A and is expected to complete phase 3 soon. Once it's completed with the accelerated process of getting it passed, it's probably be less than I think they're saying 2 to 4 weeks that it would be approved. It is actually has both 1 and 2 dose variants, and they're testing both to see if the 1 dose is as effective as the 2, or what the difference is between the 2. Though this one can store for 3 months at between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius. So it can just standard refrigeration can hold it for 3 months, and you can hold it for 2 years at negative 20 degrees. So this is the one that is the easiest to send places, and you can go just about anywhere with it. Standard refrigeration, 3 months, you're good. And then Gamaleya, which is the Russian one. It's already been authorized in Russia, Argentina, Algeria, Palestine, and Serbia. I don't know what I don't know how rigorous their standards are, but it's also a viral vector one, and it is reported to be 91+% effective, and is still in phase 3. So there are multiple other ones that are coming out. We'll talk about the other viruses at some other point, but I figured since that came up anyway, I would do that. So at any rate, you know what? I think I got into the weeds on the on some of the stuff. So there's a couple of issues that I wanted to chat with you about, Vox, and then we can do a show just covering the vaccines and the viruses, mutations, but I think that's its own show. So a couple of things. First of all, about the inauguration. There were 2 protests that I thought we should talk about. The first one was, well, I'll tell you about the second one. You were telling me about the first one, so I think you were the one who brought this up to me.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of protests throughout the various capitals of the United States on January 20th to protest the unconstitutional swearing in of Joe Biden, because, as we know, Donald Trump did in fact win the presidency by a landslide, and the Democrats are just lying. And basically, what we have now, right, is constitutional ascetificontism, right? I mean, that's basically where we're at right now. I mean, Joe Biden is just, an ascetivicantist at this point. No, I'm kidding with all of that, right? But
Yeah,
so
somebody walking into the
the
show halfway who's never seen either of us is going to think you're serious, but she's it's called sarcasm.
I'm really not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so there was this really amazing protest in Albany, which is the capital of New York, right? Many people think New York City is the capital of New York. It's not. It's in Albany. And there we have it, right? What started as, the insurrection and the coup d'etat, right, has ended with this one guy, this one man in one of the most populated states, one guy with his little flag outside the state capitol in New York protesting the swearing in of Joe Biden. And don't you just got to admire, right, for a moment, the fact that he came, he saw, he waved his flag, no one else was there, someone stopped by and took a picture, right? This man, right, the lonely Trump supporter, the single, he stayed true to the cause, right? He did. He didn't run away when things got difficult. He's probably still there with his flag going, the fuck is everyone? And of course, this was played out throughout many of the state capitals where 1, 2, 3 showed up to protest these things. But it seems that their failed insurrection really did zap their spirits. Although, I thought about this to myself for a moment. I thought to myself, now that Joe Biden has been sworn in, now that it's official, I had an idea. Now tell me what you think about this, Nick.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I thought what I'd do is I'd go get a Joe Biden Build Back Better flag, right? And I'd put it on a metal stick and I'd stick it on the back of my SUV, and on the other side I'd put an American flag. Right, wherever I'd go, I'd have this gigantic Joe Biden flag on one side and a giant American flag on the other, right? And when I honked my horn, it would just be a bald eagle screaming in Fahrenheit, right? And I thought to myself, what better way could I show my support and loyalty to my political party than to no, you know what, I won't do that, because I'm not an absolute pretentious asshole. Who would possibly wait? Donald Trump supporters are still flying here we go, look at this man in Albany, he's there with his little flag. Isn't that cute? Right, he didn't get the message. It's over.
They interviewed him. So this is Albany, New York. It's the state capital. They interviewed him, and he was quoted as saying, "I really thought there would be more people here." That was the quote. I love it. That was the quote.
I love it.
Really? I really thought there would be more people.
Although, you do got to admire the breathtaking beauty. I don't know if that's tautologist, but they're just. I mean, the Capitol building is beautiful, right? I mean, that's a beautiful building. Like I think that I mean that's just absent the barricades and the do not enter signs and this one guy with his little flag, right? It's a beautiful building. I thought that there would be more people. Bless his heart.
Well, oh dear Lord. So now you had said too that now the Now, this may just be anecdotal, but you were talking about what was going on you had or you had heard about what was going on some of the right wing social media, and they were now starting to sort of turn on each other, and they were saying, "Okay, it's time to."
They're starting to eat themselves. So I've been tracking what's been going on 8chan and some of the Reddit sub channels, and of course Parler before it got shut down and things like that, right? And where they've moved into their Facebook groups. And the QAnon people especially are eating themselves, right? And in fact, the person who created 8chan, who's a huge, like, people had thought for a little bit that he possibly could be Q. He has come out and said, look, we were all obviously duped. It's time to go back to our lives. And these people don't know what to do. And so there was a video that was released since the last time we saw this woman, right? And she's batshit crying hysterical, right? And I mean, this is obviously like genuine. Like, she is genuinely hysterical. Donald Trump, please come back. Please, you're my president. Please save us. I don't know what to do. Protect us from the demons. Protect us from Satan. Da, 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 da. And and there were a lot of people that were laughing about this and carrying on and saying she was, and all these things. She is obviously disturbed. She's been fed a lie, right, for so long, but she was in obvious, real anguish, right? And the fact that that we have a large portion of the population that is now sitting there and openly questioning, right, these things and going through these things, it's just sad. But yeah, they are absolutely eating their own. And in fact, there are people who can't deal with the fact that Donald Trump was never anything more than a con artist, right? They have fed themselves so many lies, right, that at this point they are effectively banning loyal members of their own community from the community for not keeping the faith, right? So anybody on these areas that are saying, well, we've been lied to, we've been had, are getting kicked out of the communities, right? And so, of course, then, here comes Donald Trump. Well, I'm going to start my own political party, the Patriot Party. And you know what? Because, I think the audience knows me well enough now, and you know me well enough to know that I'm always looking for silver linings, right? What is like, if Donald Trump could do something good for this country, right? Like, if there's anything good that Donald Trump has ever done for this country, like, what is something good that he could do? Well, he could start his own political party. Well, how could Donald Trump starting their own political party be a good thing? Well, let me tell you, if we could fracture the Republican Party for even another 2 years, right, we could sweep this country. Right? Democrats could sweep this country and finally get rid of gerrymandering and Citizens United and truly institute a separation of church and state, and get Puerto Rico as a state and DC as a state and Guam as a state. We could really, really do some good things. We could get the 270 initiative passed through, right? So, Donald Trump, I'm going to make a plea to you live in time now.
Here we
Please,
go.
Please, I fully, as an American citizen, support your right to create and operate a political party. We are in desperate need of a modern bull moose party, and you are just the person, Donald, to do that. You have the qualities that are necessary in order to, pull the wool over enough people's eyes to really allow us to do these things. So please, Donald Trump, do your patriotic duty, right, and form this party.
I was going to try to white box you there for that, but I can't white box camera 2. I'll have to change that. I can white box camera 1. I can't white box camera 2. My bad. I agree. I think I'd probably be willing to donate to it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, look, if they get anything over even 15%, if they get over 15% of the Republicans in it, and they will get more, it looks like they're going to get as high as 30 or even 40% of the Republicans joining it. That splits the ticket, and that paralyzes the Republicans, and I don't know if that's why all of a sudden Mitch McConnell's done his complete turnaround and is now basically condemning Trump and saying that what Trump was Trump was in fact responsible and all these other. He didn't want to hold the trial, but and he's actually now said he's asked for the trial to be in February. I'd be very suspicious of. They were going to try to hold that for at least 100 days to let Biden hit the ground running. So I don't know if they're actually going to do it in February, and I don't care so much anymore. He's going to go down in history as the worst president in this country. Nothing's going to change that. If the impeachment succeeds and all these, that's icing on the cake at this point. Like I said, I'm out of the boiling water. And somebody had said this earlier too. Yeah, it's like the smoke is cleared and you're surveying the damage. It's like we've been so busy fighting every single battle, you haven't had a chance to really survey the entire 4-year war until he was out. And you're just like, and then you see Biden just coming in and starting to clean up stuff, and you're like, oh wow, he's basically barely scratched the surface. What we're packing. What he said, we're going to rebuild our alliances like NATO, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's right. We got to like shit all over every other country on the planet. Sorry, that was more than 6 weeks ago, so I forgot. Yeah.
So I'd like to just do like a little bit of a rundown here. So
Sure.
of kind of what Biden has done in the last little bit that we have
Good
here.
idea.
So we have an executive order appointing Jeffrey Zients as the official COVID-19 response coordinator, which is, very important, right? To have somebody who, corrals all the information, brings it to. He is also, through executive order, reinstituting ties with the World Health Organization, which obviously is critical and important because, these institutions are only as good as they have support amongst, the other institutions. And of course, he is also executive order requiring masks be worn on all federal properties. And of course, Pete Buttigieg, who is the incoming transportation secretary, has noted that he will attempt to enforce mask mandates, or see how we can get mask mandates enforced on all transportation areas as much as we possibly can. We have an executive order that has bolstered the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. And of course, DACA is extremely important, right? And we know that immigration to this country is extremely important, and it strengthens us as a whole. It strengthens our economy, and it strengthens our character as a nation. So anytime we provide protections for undocumented non-citizens, this is very good. He has also signed a very important executive order that overturns the Trump administration's guidance to exclude non-citizens from the census count. Right now, the Constitution is explicit that the census is to count all peoples within the states and territories, right? Non-citizens are peoples, no matter what the Trump administration and Republicans want to think. He has also ended the Muslim ban on certain countries that have predominantly Muslim and African descendants vis-a-vis the State Department. And of course, he has halted permanently construction of the border wall, which did nothing but drain money and just damaged our relationships with a very important ally in Mexico, our next door neighbor. He has signed several executive orders on climate change, including rejoining the Paris Climate Accords. No, Ted Cruz, this does not mean we are kowtowing to people in Paris. Right, this just means this is where the accords were held.
The French haven't done anything for this country ever. I'm going to stick by. No, listen. I think people need to understand their history, and that's something that really kind of bothers me about liberals in particular. Other than The fact that we couldn't have won the Revolutionary War without them. I mean, really, what have they done for us since that? It's not like they gave us like the Statue of Liberty or anything. I mean, they haven't done anything to help this country, or it's been a hallmark of
they did.
U.S.
Well, they did. They did get their ass kicked, in World War One and World War Two for us, and
yes,
they did, they have towed the imaginary line that the United States was, wholly responsible for, a victory in World War II, as opposed to, the understanding that the majority of the reason that Nazi Germany was defeated was due to Stalin's USSR. But that's another conversation for another. He has also rescinded, thus, for the moment at least, ending any capacity to build the Keystone XL pipeline, and has um, reinstated a moratorium on oil and natural gas leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. On racial LGBT equality, he has ended the 1776 Commission, which we know was a distorted and just blatant attempt to institute white erasure into our schools and institutions, with a very distorted role of slavery, just more whitewashing. And he has placed Susan Rice as head of the Domestic Policy Council. And then, of course, he has signed an executive order mandating that there be no discrimination based on sex and gender. And on the economy, he has extended a federal moratorium on evictions, which is good. And he has asked Agriculture and Veterans Affairs and the Housing and Urban Development Departments to prolong any moratorium on foreclosures on federally guaranteed mortgages, which is very, very important. We don't need people losing their houses in the middle of a pandemic.
Yep.
And he has continued the on student loan interest and principal payments through September, and following other people, he has ordered that all of his appointees sign an ethics pledge, and he has frozen all nations put in motion by Donald Trump to give the administration more time to evaluate which ones to allow to move forward and which is a common executive order that's done at the beginning of all new administrations. And of course, so now he has had his first full day in office. We understand that he worked very hard throughout the day, and has now, of course, retired to the East Wing.
All right. Well, so he's had a busy 24 hours, although actually I think all of those were in the first 7 hours. It was that review. Because I'd forgotten about DACA. I had forgotten about all the things he had said about immigrants. I had even forgotten about what he had said. He was talking about when Biden mentioned Arlington National Cemetery. And I think that was on purpose. And the heroes buried there. I was like, oh, the people that Trump said were cowards and losers buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Did you see?
And I'm going to tell you what, this almost brought tears to my eyes. And I don't think that Biden knew about it. I don't think he knew. He found out later, I think. A serviceman went down to where Beau Biden was buried, and while Joe Biden was being sworn in, knelt down in front of Beau Biden's grave, and just so much in there, right? There's just so much in there, and it's things like that, right? Joe Biden's inauguration did something for me personally. I am generally an optimistic person. My faith has been beaten down over the last 4 years. I'm on vapors here, right? That inauguration, that man kneeling at Beau Biden's grave, it put a little gas back in my tank. It restored just a modicum of decency to something that had been stripped of all vestiges of respect and decency and tradition and commonality. So I don't know who that guy was, but I tell you what, that was just a wonderful thing. And we wouldn't have even known about it, but it just happened that there was a passerby who saw it and snapped a picture. It wasn't done for political gain or political purpose or anything. He just wanted to be with Beau while his father. He felt like Beau deserved, someone there while his father was being sworn in as president of the United States.
Oh, well, I think that's a good note to end on, unless there's something we missed that you wanted to cover.
No, I think the only thing missing is, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up.
Absolutely. And there are many ways to support the show if you like the show and if you appreciate the commentary and the fact that we have on. I think we do very well as far as guests are concerned, and you want to support us. That's what's going to keep us on the air. So please like and subscribe, and come join our Discord.
Absolutely.
I'll be in the Discord probably in about 5 minutes after the show. Vox, you going to be able to make it tonight?
I'll be there.
She'll be there, and just for Michael, she will bring the cat.
Yes.
And then we've got Aaron Ra. I think we're gonna get Aaron Ra back again coming up. We've got Dr. Carrier is going to be talking the Bayesian method with us. We got him coming up. We're going to have Dr. Shook on, and we're now looking to book him twice more. He said he could only do one, like in a 2-month period. So it looks like we're going to get him twice in 3 weeks. We're gonna schmooze him.
Well, he got excited at the end of that last show when we started going into meta ethics, right? And he's an enjoyable guy to speak to.
So
and of course we're gonna be getting into the grievance studies, and we'll be setting a date here for. I'm confident that we will be setting a date for the G of Gender soon. I'm down, so I'm confident we'll get a date on that coming up. And then of course we have the ever loved, much loved, yet not on much, Christopher Matty, who I'm sure will be popping in from time to time.
Yes, in fact, I think we've got one already booked with him, and he's teaching again. So it's sort of like, and I said, listen, you could, admittedly, we don't pay as well or at all compared to a major national university, but on the flip side, you don't have to grade papers. So I mean, really, shouldn't you be paying us to come on? That's my thinking. And he didn't buy it. I came close.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, look. I mean, I don't spend 30 seconds looking in a mirror and making sure that my mascara isn't smudged, that the camera isn't distorted, to come in here and just deal with this lack of I don't know what. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, right? Look, I love you all. I love you all. I really do.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you all for joining. Oh, yes, I did. I forgot. So, and I'm hoping it's still probably about 2 weeks away, but there's going to be another show. So, off time we're going to be doing that one. It's not going to be a live show. It's going to be pre-recorded, and we'll talk more about that at some point. I figured I would let that drop. We've already got a number of episodes for that. Just need some.
Yeah, you guys are really going to enjoy that. That's something I think you guys are really going to enjoy.
Yep.
We enjoy making it, so you'll enjoy watching it. I'm confident.
It's a lot of fun. So we'll catch up with you guys. I'll be on the Discord. We'll both be on the Discord about 5 minutes. Thank you all for joining us. We will talk with you soon.